Okay, so last time we were finishing the second Torah over here in Meshivat Nefesh, which, just to summarize very, very briefly, it talks about how a person who falls to the lowest level, so very often we feel like when we're falling, there's nothing that we can do, and the further we fall, the less power we feel like we have, and our Avodas Hashem is worth less and less. So Nachman comes to teach us that it's mamish the opposite. That when we start going down and down and down, we have to respond to our Yetzer Hara by saying, no, the fact that I fall into a lower place, now every little thing that I do has even more impact on the higher worlds. Why? Because the goal of creation was to reveal Hashem's presence in the lowest places. So this planet Earth is itself a very low place. That's why we're here. That's why Hashem sent us to planet Earth, a very low place to reveal His presence by serving Him. But on a deeper level, even on planet Earth, there's many different levels of, higher and lower levels. And when we fall to a lower and lower place, so this is an opportunity for us to reveal Hashem's presence even in a greater way, that even in that place, let's say even Gehenna, a person falls into the darkness place. So, yeah, I can serve Hashem in that place. Wow. So then Hashem's presence is revealed down there. So to summarize this Indian, this idea with a story, that something that happened to me that I saw about a few months ago. About over the winter time during the Corona, things were still kind of locked down for Corona in Eretz Yisrael. So they had the minyan was davening outside in front of the shul, and I was going into the mikveh next to the shul, and I came out, and this minyan that was davening outside, so they were getting ready to say kedusha. They were saying the Chazar Hashatz, about to say kedusha, and just as they're about to say kedusha, comes down the street a garbage truck, and right across from this minyan that's davening outside is this this big garbage dump, and the garbage was coming to empty it out. So it's not such an opportune time to be saying kedusha when you have like this big, really smelly garbage truck that's coming through, right, literally 10 feet across the street from where you're davening. So the amazing thing happened, that the one of the garbage men, as the garbage truck stopped and was about to unload this and dump this garbage truck, clear it out, which by the way, it's very noisy. It's like you can't even hear anything that's going on. So one of the guys, he looked across the street and he realized what was going on. He realized that there was a minyan, and that this minyan was just about to get to Kedusha. Hi, Shalom. How are you? So, what's your name?
All right.
Nice to meet you, Ryan. Welcome. So this garbage truck, so this man, one of the garbage men, he realized that this minyan was saying kedusha, and they're about to this highest point in the tefillah of Shachris, and so he said stop, and he told the driver, he said stop, no, don't do the garbage right now, and he spoke with him, and then he and the other two guys that are working in this garbage truck, they got out of they came off the truck and they crossed the street. And they joined the minyan to answer kedusha.
Wow! Were the drivers not religious or something, or?
I mean, they're wearing. I mean, like, you wouldn't know. They're wearing their garbage man clothes. Like they're not.
They're Arabs.
So obviously they were not Arabs. They were not always not Arabs. They're not going to say kedusha.
That'd be weird.
That would be very interesting. But so they were Jewish, but I don't know. They must have been religious on some level. But on the outside, you would have never recognized, because wearing the garbage man uniform with the hat and the whole thing, and they these clothes, not only does the garbage smell, but the clothes also smell, as we all know. That's what happens.
It's actually an interesting question, though. If they're allowed to join the minyan, if they have a
smell on their clothes. Right. Okay, so it depends.
They don't smell it.
No, it depends. It's an interesting question. You're saying halacha.
Because you're not supposed to.
You're not supposed to daven, but it's not any bad smell. The halacha is that it has a bad smell that's related to feces and to human or animal excrement.
There could be.
It could be, but okay. Anyways, that aside, the point is that what happened over here? What happened over here was that in Shemayim, in the heavens, when these people they're not even like involved in davening, and they're wearing these clothes, and not only that, but they're working. They're trying. They don't have extra time. They have to go from this place to that place. They stop in the middle of their shift with their filthy clothes and all the smells and everything that's going on. And they came and they joined this minyan and they answered to Kedusha. What happened in this moment? We have to recognize we have no idea. We don't see any of this stuff. But what happened is that in the higher worlds, there were billions of angels like screaming and like chanting and cheering for them. And imagine I don't know if you guys ever been to a sports stadium. I grew up in Michigan. There's some very big sports stadiums there, and people are crazy about sports. They're like insane about football and this, and everybody's like rooting for their team, and everybody comes there, and then all of a sudden, like at the very end of the game, they throw the touchdown pass, and the last moment they win the entire game, and the whole stadium is like crazy, screaming and cheering. It's like, we have to think in our mind, close our eyes from this world and just think, in Shemayim, in the higher worlds, this is what's going on. There's angels that are saying that are rooting against us, that are trying to push us down and just think negatively about ourselves. You're schmutz, you're covered in filth, you're a garbage man. You don't do anything for anybody. Your job is meaningless in the world. We have these types of angels.
True. Definitely not true.
And but this is the thoughts that we have. We have these type of thoughts that push us down and make us feel like we're worthless. And then we have these other thoughts that sometimes are for a week. Maybe they're the underdog. But they're rooting for us, they're cheering for us. No. You're very important. Every single mitzvah you do, every single tefillah you say, every bracha. The whole world is dependent on this. This is and it's true. Even if your clothes are dirty and you fall into the filth of this world, the temptations and all the garbage that we're surrounded by. Nevertheless, all the more so that what you could do right now by jumping into a minyan and answering the Kedusha, there's a huge uproar that happens in Shemayim. All the fans are cheering for us. All these malachim, this underdog. So this, when the underdog wins, then it's like it's even a bigger chiddush. It's like, when the team that's always supposed to still win. So everybody's like, okay, so Yankees won the World Series again. I don't know if it's happened that recently, but when the Kansas City Royals, or the Pittsburgh Steelers, they come and they're like, they're gonna come and win the Super Bowl, the World Series. Wow, so that's. So then their fans are like, they're like going nuts. They celebrate it for years afterwards. So that's what happens. We have to see that. Okay, so maybe we are covered in schmutz. We're a little bit dirty. We haven't purified ourselves from all the desires of this world. But that's dafka the reason we should jump in and do in daven shacharis and answer kedusha and strengthen ourselves to serve Hashem. So that's just to kind of pull together this idea that we're learning in the second Torah of Meshivat Nefesh. Now we'll start the third Torah over here. It says Hachaverim Mekarovim LaTzadikei Emes V'oichzim Es Atzmam Bahem. So the friends, the chevra that are close to the true tzaddikim, and they're holding each other together. It's good for them to strengthen each other and to awaken each other. And the main strengthening that we do for each other is an amazing power over tzaddikim. That it's so great that it can lift up even our souls that have lots of blemishes, that have lots of schmutz, like we're talking about. And even if we haven't crossed over into the realm of Kedusha, even a hair's breadth, we haven't even improved even a tiny little bit. So even that person, the tzaddik, can lift him up and renew him through his incredible strength. So we'll stop here for now. So basically, there's two things going on over here that Rabbi Nachman is talking about. One is this incredible power of the tzaddikim, and two is the relationship between the talmidim, between the chavra, the friends that are connected to the tzaddikim. So let's go back to Har Sinai. Let's go. We're getting ready for the Yom Tov of Shavuos, Kabbalah Torah. So what happened at Har Sinai? There was basically these two ideas. One was the incredible power of Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu went up to Har Sinai. Didn't eat, didn't drink for 40 days. How do we understand that? the person can't even survive. So people try to say, unfortunately, that it's not literal. Oh, it's not literal. I don't know. But
it might be possible with extremely good meditation that you can get by.
I know somebody who has a website. I don't know, I forget his name, but he basically climbed Mount Everest in his shorts.
Oh, Wim Hof. Yeah, that's totally possible.
You can train your body after months and whatever it is, and mental training, physical training. He was able to train his body to withstand extreme severe cold that most people would freeze to death and die, like hypothermia.
Okay, very good. So all of this is maybe like a little hint to the level that Moshe Rabbeinu was able to reach through his spiritual work, that he was able to reach such a place that he didn't have any need for the physical world. He was completely holy, and he was able to bring the Torah down to Klal Yisrael. It's very important for us to realize that without Moshe Rabbeinu, there's no Torah. If Moshe Rabbeinu, Hashem said he wanted to give the Torah to all of Klal Yisrael, and he started, and we all experienced the first two commandments. Anochi Hashem Elokecha, I am Hashem your God, and Lo Yeh Lecha Elohim Acherim. You're not allowed to have any other gods. So we experienced those two commandments collectively. We witnessed the prophecy. That was an amazing thing that never happened in the history of time and never has happened since. But after that, we said, Moshe, this is way too much. I can't. We don't have the ability. We don't have the kedusha, this level of holiness, to be able to receive the Torah like that. It's too intense for us. It's too much. We said, Moshe, you go and get the Torah and you teach it to us. And that's how it happened. And Hashem said, this is the right idea. This is how we have to do it. So, this is an essential aspect of Judaism, is the role of the tzaddik. The role in, again, we talked about before that the tzaddik is not an in between. It's not the idea that we worship the tzaddik, God forbid, and the tzaddik is connected to Hashem. No, we are worshiping Hashem. We're serving Hashem. But the tzaddik is one who's bringing the teachings of Hashem down to us in order to teach us how to serve Hashem, teach us how to have a relationship with Him. How do we daven? How do we know how to daven? We learn from Moshe Rabbeinu how to daven. What does it say in the Torah? How do we learn the Torah? We're learning Torah's Moshe. The Torah belongs to Moshe Rabbeinu. He's the one who's teaching us what Hashem wants. So this is an essential aspect of Judaism, is the role of the tzaddik. And this role was passed down from Moshe to Yeshua to Zakanim. The first mission of Pirkei Avos goes through the entire chain of the Jewish tradition, and it goes all the way down into today, mamash. Now, in the last, there was a period of darkness in Jewish people, that we lost this connection to the tzaddik to a certain extent, and for various reasons, we didn't have so great tzaddikim to guide us for periods of time. But then the Baal Shem Tov came, and then you have and after him came his Talmidim, the students of Baal Shem Tov, and then we have Rabbi Nachman, and we have even tzaddikim today that are alive in this world to guide Klal Yisrael. And it's very, very important for us to connect to these tzaddikim, because these tzaddikim are the ones who were able to transmit the Torah to us. Because again, the Torah of Moshe Rabbeinu, that was given 3,500 years ago. Then, afterwards came the Mishnah. The Mishnah explained in the Torah Sheba'al Peh, the oral tradition. And without that, we would have no idea what Moshe Rabbeinu was talking about. After that came the Gemara, which explained the Mishnah. After Gemara came the Rishonim, which explained the Gemara. After that, the Achronim. It goes all the way down to today that this chain of tzaddikim is bringing the Torah of Moshe Rabbeinu into our generation. So that's the importance we have, that we need to have for the tzaddikim of our generation. And again, the definition of the tzaddik of our generation is the one whose Torah is the most relevant. It is important to connect to the living tzaddikim, but in Breslov we say that the tzaddik ador we believe is Rabbi Nachman, because his Torah is the most relevant to what's going on in our lives. For example, the garbage man.
The what?
The garbage man. Right? That's relevant to what's going on in our lives. This is what we're going through. So
I mean, every rabbi has something relevant.
100%. So it's and we need all of them. They all have something that's relevant. We need all of the tzaddikim, and at the same time, it's an important search for us to find the tzaddik that's the most relevant to us. So, and that's the search for this tzaddik. And what Rabbi Nachman says over here is that this tzaddik is able to help us, even if we're unable to change it all. It's an amazing thing. We count spheres over, count day after day after day after day. We're getting to Shavuos. That's the ultimate revelation. The 50th day. We feel like, what can I do? I'm counting every day. Maybe I'm trying to change. I'm trying to improve myself a little bit, work on this and work on that. We're learning Pirkei Avos. There's teachings of our ancestors about, having good midas and being a good person and serving Hashem. But at the end of the day, we look at our progress, it's like, nope, didn't really change. So people give up. It's like, what's the point? What am I doing? Why am I wasting my time? Chas v'shalom. Why am I trying to do tshuva when it's just, I can't even move 1 inch. Right? Rabbi Nachman says over here, the Lashon is, a person hasn't moved from chol, which is like secular, contamination, into the realm of kedusha and holiness. Even a hair's breadth, he hasn't changed. And even so, it's how it can help that person. How so? So Rabbi Nachman explains in this Torah, again, this Torah that's in Meshivat Nefesh is actually an abbreviated, abridged version of Likutei Moharan. So Rabbi Nachman explains in Likutei Moharan that the way he's able to do that is through our ratzon. That every single time we awaken our desire to serve Hashem and to change and to do tshuva, and we make a small attempt, or sometimes even if we're not able to make an attempt, or even if the attempt that we make gets completely reversed, nevertheless, that ratzon is so important to Hashem. It expresses who we are on the inside, at the deepest level. It expresses what we really want. What I really want is I really want to be here. I really want to be holy, kaddish for Torah. We say in Tzvius, we want to purify ourselves and reach the highest level to receive the Torah. We express that ratzon to Hashem by trying to do tshuva and trying to daven with more kavanah, and trying to do more mitzvahs, and trying to learn a little bit more Torah during Sfiras Omer, and trying to talk to Hashem, doing his bodhidus, our own conversation with Hashem, doing a little bit more. No matter what happens, what the result of that ratzon is, no matter what the comes out of our attempts, it doesn't matter. When we're connected to the tzaddik, he has the ability to lift up these ritzanos and to turn them into incredible spiritual things. And we can understand this even from what the sages say. The sages say that a person wanted to do a mitzvah, he thought to do a mitzvah, he said, I really want to do this mitzvah. And then he had some sort of obstacle, he wasn't able to do it. So Hashem considers it as if he did the mitzvah. So most of us, we say that we hear this like, it can't be true. How could it be true that we wanted to do something and we didn't do it? So Hashem says, "Okay, I'll give you credit for it." What? That's not how grades work. Our teacher doesn't grade us, A for it's E for effort. It's E for effort. It's not A for effort. you do good efforts, you get an E. Good job, right? Hashem's grading system is very different than what we think. He grades us on effort. He grades us on our ratzon. He grades us on what we really want. Because the sages say, Rahman Aliva Hashem, the compassionate one wants our heart. This is what he wants more than anything. Of course, if we can do the actions and bring our desires into fruition and into actions, this is great. I mean, that's obviously the ultimate goal. But the main thing is Hashem wants our heart. He wants our ratzon. He wants us. What's us? Is our ratzon, our desire. That's who we are. That's like who we are. The spitz, who we are is what we want, not what we do. When it comes to what we do, there's obstacles. Now these obstacles that the sages are talking about, not just like I got stuck in traffic, so I didn't make it to the bris milah, or I was sick and so I couldn't go to shul and daven. It's even obstacles that happen up here. Obstacles in our own mind, in our Yetzer Hara. There's also obstacles. We really want to do a mitzvah, and then all of a sudden we try to daven kavanah, and all of a sudden the Yetzer Hara comes at us with crazy thoughts of distractions and worries and fears and anxiety about these stupid things. All of a sudden, just one essay is over and that's it. So what happened? Nothing? No. We got it. We had the ratzon, and we started. We tried, putting that effort. Because Hashem is mitzaref l'maitza. He combines it and brings it together to be considered as if we did an action. But really, this koyach, this strength that we have is really only through the tzaddikim, because they're the ones who reveal to us the effect that our ratzon has. We don't see it. So if we don't have the tzaddikim revealing it to us, so it's very easy for us to just give up, because we don't believe in such a thing. How can I believe? This is crazy stuff. How can I believe in such a thing? No, so the tzaddikim show us, that this is the truest reality. And they have the spiritual power to take these ritzanos, these desires that we have, and they lift them up to Hashem, and they say, Hashem, see, look, this Jew, he's trying so hard to serve you. And Hashem says, you're right, this is amazing. And he cherishes that ratzon. And that's the main tshuva that we're trying to do. It's just to strengthen that ratzon. So, now the other part, aspect of this Torah, that's the aspect of the tzaddik. The other aspect of this Torah is the chevra. Rabbi Nachman says, he starts it out that it's good for us to strengthen each other and to awaken each other, and especially in the aspect of our faith in the tzaddikim, in Moshe Rabbeinu. So this is a very important point, because right now we live in a world of severe separation, severe isolation. People are alone in their own little cubicle, in their own little room, talking to people through different forms of technology, and just living their life of isolation all by themselves. What happens when we're by ourselves is that we're sitting duck for the Yetzer Hara. We're sitting duck for all of the forces of evil. We're caught in a trap. We're trapped in their net. When we're by ourselves, we can open this book. Possibly, we can learn what it says. It's not going to affect us. It's not going to give us the strength that we need to actually overcome what we need to overcome. The reason is that, again, we're the underdog over here. The Yetzer Hara is very strong. So, if we stay in a one-on-one match, I mean it's us against him, we don't have a really good chance. But what happens when two Jews come together, and they come and they try to strengthen each other and awaken each other to serve Hashem? So what happens like this is that the Yetzer Tov, our good that's inside of every single Jew, that good comes together and combines. It becomes one. Whereas the Yetzer Hara, the two Yetzer Haras, the two negative aspects of those two people, they don't come together because they don't have any relationship to each other. The nature of good, all the toy that comes from the world comes from Hashem. Hashem is one. Hashem is completely one. So all that good is really, in its source, it's all one. So when it comes together, so then it combines and becomes one. Whereas the bad the aspect of negative of evil in the world is the aspect of separation, that is separate from each other. That's the whole force of evil is is the hiddenness of Hashem's oneness. That things are separate. There's no oneness. Everything is separate. This person wants this person wants this. These people fight with these people. That's the nature of the forces of evil in the world, is separation. So the Yetzer Haras, they don't want anything to do with each other. They can't agree on anything. They don't come together to fight against us. So then all of a sudden it's 2 against 1 for each of the Yetzer Haras. We have 2 Yetzer Tovs, 2 good against this one Yetzer Hara, and then another 2 good against this Yetzer Hara. And that's how. So then we're no longer the underdog. We're able to beat them. So that's like on a deeper level, and just even on a practical level, But when we come and we sit down together and we strengthen each other, talking about the Kodesh Baruch, we're talking about Hashem. We realize that we're not alone in our struggles. We're not fighting this battle against, the Arabs and against the Yetzer Hara. We're not doing it all alone. We're in it all together. That's an incredible chizuk for us. The main reason why we give up is we think, I'm all by myself in my struggles. Nobody understands what I'm going through. Nobody can help me with what I'm going through. So that, again, we're the underdog. We come together and we said, this person, he's also struggling with this. But he learned this Torah from this tzaddik. That's an incredible weapon to fight against these forces of evil. And I learned this Torah from this book that's able to help in this way. And we come together, we share these ideas with each other. So it's like, instead of an army of like individual soldiers trying to fight this battle, it's all this collective force coming together. Each one has their own unique weapon and their own unique, talent and skill. And we come together and we share these things with each other. And then we're able to defeat this enemy that we have to defeat. And Rabbi Nachman says that the main thing that we're coming together to discuss and to strengthen ourselves over is the incredible power of the tzaddikim. The power of the tzaddikim that they have. Moshe Rabbeinu, starting with Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu has the power to go up to Har Sinai and get the Torah for us. The Torah is the unification of heaven and earth, physical and spiritual world. You do a mitzvah. Every mitzvah we do is a physical action in the world that is connected all the way to the source of the infinite light of Hashem. It has the infinite light of Hashem in that physical action that we're doing. This is an unbelievable thing. How could Hashem combine these two things are opposites? The physical and the spiritual world are 2 opposites. The spiritual world is beyond the physical realm. It's the higher forces of the universe. The physical realm is Gashmi. It's this table, this thing. How could these 2 things come together into one? How could a human being, in other words, how could a human being in this physical world be able to have an impact on all the higher spiritual worlds? The angels said, "No, this we can't let this happen. It's not right. He's a human. He's flesh and blood. He's going to sin. He's going to mess up." They saw that we're going to do the Chet HaEgel, the sin of the golden calf. They saw that we're going to destroy. We're going to mess it up. We're living in the physical world. We have temptations. We have desires. We're going to mess up. So angels said, "How could you give the Torah to such a physical creatures?" And Moshe Rabbeinu said, "No." He said, "You don't need the Torah. The Malachim, angels don't need the Torah. What are you gonna? You don't have a Yetzer Hara. If for you to do the Torah is not gonna affect anything, because you automatically do Hashem's ratzon. You automatically do exactly what Hashem wants, because you're purely spiritual beings. But these physical people down on planet Earth who have a Yetzer Hara and they're struggling, they're the ones who need the Torah, because when they choose to do the right thing, that's when there's going to be an incredible revelation of Hashem in the darkness of the physical world, like we're talking about. That's going to show Hashem's presence. Whereas the angels who don't have freedom of choice and they just do exactly what Hashem says. So Hashem says to follow Torah, they do it. That doesn't create a revelation of Hashem in the world. So this is all through the power of the tzaddikim. This is the power of Moshe Rabbeinu, that he's able to bring this spiritual essence of the Torah down into this world. And he gave it over to Yeshua, and again, gave it all the way to tzaddikim, that it's shaykh for us in this world to actually do the Torah. It's unbelievable. The Torah is shaykh to us in this world. It's possible for us, even if we fall into the lowest places in the modern world of 2021, what's going on around us. The Torah is still here. It's still possible for us to connect to it. But it's only through the power of tzaddikim. Because the obstacles are so great. The obstacles that we're going through right now are so great that without the help of the tzaddikim and without this faith that there's a tzaddik in our generation who can lift us up and take every little thing that we do and every little rotten that we have, every good desire that we have for Hashem, we can take that and do amazing things in the heavens. Without that, so then there's a break. There's separation between the physical and spiritual. It happens again. Every generation, this claim of the angels that the angels had, that how can you give the Torah to flesh and blood, it happens again. Every single time, every single year that Hashem's coming to give us the Torah. The angels are saying, how can you give it to them? They fall into an even lower place than the previous year. They're even more physical, more lost in the physical world and the non-Jewish culture and all the secular, all the crazy things that we have going on in our head. So every single year this is happening over and over again. The angels are saying, how can you give the Torah to them? This is why we need to have Shavuos every single year. We need to receive the Torah anew every single time, because every single year we fall to a new place. And there's a new Chizuk, there's a new prosecution against us. And we need a new tzaddik, we need to relate, we need to connect to the tzaddikim of our door, of our generation, in a new way in order to overcome this prosecution and say, no, I need the Torah, I deserve the Torah. Why? Because I'm in such a low place, like we were talking about before. Because I've fallen to so far. So I'm the one who dafka needs the Torah more than anybody else. So that's what Nachman is talking about over here. So we continue. This is the main strength that each one of us can find. Even the person who's the worst person. There's a garbage man, and then there's a garbage man who's like sleeps in the garbage. He doesn't even have a home. He sleeps in the garbage all day and all night. No matter who that person is, I feel him actually, no matter what we're going through, we're all going through crazy things we're struggling with in our physical lives, in our spiritual lives, everything that we're going through. Anytime that a person still holds on to the tzaddik and he believes in the koyach of Moshe Rabbeinu and all the tzaddikim, and that's like he has incredible hope, unbelievable hope for all of eternity. Unbelievable hope. There's always a way out. Like he said before, we have to strengthen each other and to awaken ourselves and to strengthen ourselves to serve Hashem. And to remind each other of the incredible advice that we've heard and that we've learned from different tzaddikim. Each one according to what he received from his teachers. That's the end of this sif. So basically, this is our hope. We have to keep hope. We can't give up, even if it seems like there's nothing else. There's no way out of our situation, whatever situation is. We're going through what we're going through. Like Rabbi Nachman says, you can't even put it into words. Rabbi Nachman just says we're going through what we're going through because each one of us understands it on our own level, that we're struggling. That's the reality of this generation. It's just like, so we say, Mashiach, when's Mashiach going to come? And of course, we're supposed to ask Mashiach, we're supposed to daven Mashiach. But if you're very careful, when we ask Mashiach, we're not saying, Hashem, I've given up, please bring Mashiach. We're not saying, I've lost the hope, please bring Mashiach. That's a lot of people, that's what people think. They say, Hashem, like, life's too hard, like, the Jewish people are suffering so much. Why, like, after Corona, then their own, and now the Arabs. And then, bring Mashiach. And then there's our own personal suffering that we're going through. This is not really what Hashem wants. Hashem wants us to have hope. That's the only time Mashiach is going to come, is when we have hope. We believe in ourselves. We believe that we have a spark of Mashiach in our own heart. And we believe in that spark of Mashiach, despite everything else that's going on. And we believe that despite all the things that are happening to the Jewish people, there's still a spark of Mashiach. There's still tzaddikim in this world around us that can help us. We have that hope. So then we can bring Mashiach. Then the Messiah will come and all these problems, everything else will go away. The main sickness, the main problem in today's world is very simple. It's despair. So we have to be careful of the Mashiach despair. This despair of Mashiach. We don't want the despair of Mashiach. We want the hope of Mashiach. Yes, I have the ability to bring Mashiach. Right now, we have to empower ourselves. It's not just, when, somebody's going to come down and take us out. No, right now, with what I can do, even if it's a tiny little bit, I can say a bracha, I can learn a little bit, I can daven, I can do these little things for Hashem. That is already a spark of Mashiach. If we really go deep into this, we realize that this is what the tzaddikim are trying to teach us. This is the connection to tzaddikim, is to live in this mindset of Mashiach. Yes, I'm a garbage man. I'm covered in schmutz, but I just answered kedusha, and I just brought Mashiach. I just brought an incredible spark of Mashiach into the world. Okay, so we need to bring more sparks until it's complete. But we're already living in this mindset of I am bringing Mashiach with every little thing I do. Hashem should help we should have good news in our lives personally and for all the Klal Yisrael. And we should truly do tshuva and get ready for Kabbalas Torah by understanding the preciousness of our Ratzon for Hashem.
Amen.